You're listening to the Maryland Fishing Line, a production of the Chesapeake Angler Magazine. And now your host, Brian Rains.
Welcome to the Maryland Fishing Line, episode 6. Today is June 30th, 2020. This is the podcast where we talk about fishing throughout the great state of Maryland. The Maryland Fishing Line is a production of the Angler Magazine Chesapeake Edition. The Chesapeake Angler Magazine can be found throughout Southern Maryland, Anne Arundel County, and the Eastern Shore. If you would like to see it in your area and it's not there, that's too bad. Let us know. We'll make sure to get it there. How you doing, Joey?
Good. I did get a personalized delivery of mine last night.
Joey and I went fishing last night.
Yeah.
And you got the July edition, I think, before anybody else. I think the very first July edition went straight to you. What do you think of it?
Well, I told you instantly. I was like, "Oh, it feels different."
Yeah, the cover's different. There's new printers.
So silky smooth.
It's they've really upped their game on the cover.
A nice bass on the front.
Yeah, it's a beautiful picture on the front.
Where's that from? Where's he at?
So it's down at the bottom.
I just can't read.
Tyler Wolcott.
This is going to really suck when I have to read a section.
Tyler WolcottFishing.com. So our cover photos on the Angler Magazine come from around the country.
Oh, I wasn't sure about you switching. I know you have the Chesapeake Edition in there. I think the first half's national.
So the way that the Angler Magazine works, and I'll dive into this just a little bit before we get to the report. The Angler Magazine is a national magazine. It is a national
you get
franchise.
To this beauty right here in the middle.
Right, exactly. and the way that it works is it's national content on the outer wrapper, if you think of it that way, and then we have the local Chesapeake or Maryland edition inside of the magazine, and that inside section changes from territory to territory. So the local information is in the inside, national content on the outside, which I think is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Because you do get information. If you're an angler, if you're a fisherman, if you're a fisher lady, then you want to see stuff not just from your backyard. You want to see stuff from all over. And we got it.
How the hell did this kid catch that fish?
With one arm, right?
Yeah. Those got some good stuff.
So the magazine
you got this cute little old guy down here.
Who is that?
I don't know. It's just...
So this month's magazine, let me actually walk through. In this issue for July, we've got Chesapeake Bay rockfish on light tackle, which is a lead into a video that I did for the YouTube channel, which is kind of cool. We've got Let the Good Times Roll. That comes from Captain Jason Seaman on the Marylander over in Denton. And that was what Joey was talking about, the picture of the kid on the front with his arm in a sling on that article. So Jason sends me a whole bunch of photos and from his trips, and we use a bunch of them throughout the month. The brag board, which is what people send me pictures, and if they want to see your picture in print, you can always send us an email, and I've got some information on that. I get a snakehead report, so we have snakehead fishing during the spawn, which comes from Kaz, Kenny, and Eddie Bramble, and Gary Smith at Snakehead Life. They send me that every month.
The Eastern Shore Boys?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, Snakehead Life and Blackwater's Edge podcast. And then I did the July freshwater forecast. So that kind of rounds out the magazine for the month. It's got a beautiful coat over red, white, and blue for 4th of July. It's got an American flag, and I don't know, looks good.
Well, I like it.
I'm really happy with that. It came out really well this month. So
yeah, we fished together last night.
Did we actually even introduce? I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
And we didn't actually do that. We just
my
dove
third
right
episode
in.
I've been on too.
I know. It's like it's old hat. Thank
you.
You
should be world famous by now.
Thank you for being a multi-potter with me.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. It's fun. We're gonna start having some fun here, I think.
I'm gonna be more famous here than Jimmy Houston.
I watched a Roland Martin video the other day.
Oh man,
and it was he's getting up there. And it was
all the Jimmy Houston, Roland Martin, Bill Dant. I mean, those guys are
so I watched
70s, 80s.
It's funny because while we were in between podcasts, and I was just flumming through YouTube real quick, and I saw Jimmy Houston, and I was like, he looks like a little old woman. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, we did. We went fishing last night.
Yeah,
did a little club pond fishing, and you took your dad out and put him on some fish. Not big fish. A topwater bite didn't turn on last night.
No, but compared to like the pond, I mean, I like the pond. I know if you catch a fish, it's going to be decent. He had one that might have been a 3-pounder. He had a couple 2-pounders.
Nice.
I mean, it beats like the 8-inch, 10-inch fish down in like Lake Lariat or St. Mary's Lake.
Yeah.
He was ecstatic. I mean, he hasn't caught a lot this year. I caught a big old goose egg.
I told him, though, anytime you want to go, just send him my way.
Yeah.
We go fishing. Hey, so before we get too deep into all that, let's take a look at what's going on around the state. Did you know that Maryland has a free fishing day coming up? The 4th of July is a license-free day, and that allows you to enjoy everything that Maryland has to offer. Trout on the fly, no stamps required, nothing. It is totally free game in the state of Maryland on the 4th of July to go fishing. So knock yourself out, guys and gals. Chesapeake Bay surface water temperatures have jumped up into the upper 70s, resulting in low oxygen areas appearing from Swan Point down to the mouth of the Potomac River. And the eastern side of the bay has really bad oxygen conditions for fish in waters deeper than 25 feet. So keep that in mind. With river temperatures approaching the mid-70s, rockfish are still remaining in spawning. The rockfish that still remain in the spawning rivers to feed near the channel edges and points will begin to move to cooler river mouths or main bay structure. Did you know that surface waters are about 4 degrees warmer than bottom waters? I thought there would have been a bigger difference, just 4 degrees.
Not in those ponds last night.
I know. The shallower side of the ponds were like 95 degrees last night. It's crazy. White perch have moved out of tidal creek mouths on mud, sand, or clay bottoms near structure in waters less than 25 feet deep. Adult spot. This is the big news, I think, over the last week. Spot are here at the mouth of the Patuxent River and anywhere pretty much south of the Bay Bridge. You're looking for oyster bars, sand, or mud bottoms, bloodworms, small clams, and probably little pieces of shrimp. Although, do you ever use fish bites? Just the little artificial bloodworm stuff. I used to do really well with that. Just little pieces of that. Although I freeze my bloodworms now.
Yeah, I think there's a bloodworm shortage in Delaware right now.
Maine.
You can't buy bloodworms
Maine, everywhere.
Oh, so is it all over?
All your bloodworms come from Maine. Did you know that? All bloodworms come from Maine. And Maine has some sort of a employment thing going on. And so there has been a shortage of bloodworms all up and down the East Coast. But I think that's kind of starting to resolve itself. Looking at the upper Chesapeake Bay Conowingo Dam, same drumbeat as last week and the week before and probably the week before that. At first light, that's prime topwater action. And as soon as those morning hours begin to move along, switch yourself up to some soft plastic jigs and work the edges of the channels. All types of catfish are providing plenty of action for anybody that's fishing cut bait, clam snouts, or chicken livers. You know the nice thing about chicken liver? You don't catch fish on it.
You eat it.
Cook it over dinner. The channel edges, the lower Susquehanna and Elk Rivers. White perch. White perch are around. Go find them. Go catch a white perch. Trolling along the shipping channel edges of Swan Point. Perch are everywhere. I mean, come on.
Perch, I can hit 40 of them off my pier right here.
Right. I saw the other day, like the charter captains that are running out and catching the spot. They're catching like 400 and 500 spot in a trip. What do you do? How do you?
Why do you need to catch that many?
Why? What are you doing with 400 to 500 spot? What? Where are you putting those fish?
I don't know.
I mean, how many freezers would you need to fill with spot? That seems excessive to me, but hey, boo, you be you. Trolling along the shipping channel edges in Swan Point offers some success for rockfish. Most anglers are pulling umbrella rigs with inline weights down deep to 25 foot to 30 foot channel edges. White bucktails or swim shads as trailers are the norm. And look, spot and white perch can be found in the mouth of the magazine in shallow areas at both ends of the bridgers and in water off Sandy Point State Park. Always with white perch and spot. Bottom rigs baited with pieces of bloodworm are always preferred. And like I said, that's a nice little pro tip. You know, the bloodworms, you can freeze those things and pull them back out of the freezer. And I mean,
I didn't know that.
Bad smelling is bad smelling. I mean, there's not going to be as good as fresh, right? Yeah. But I mean, how many times do you take those little nubbins, you get a dozen bloodworms, and they're like ginormous.
Yeah.
And you cut up one bloodworm, you can fish all day with it. And then you get all these other bloodworms, and they're so expensive.
I mean, not if you're catching 500 spot.
Oh, true that. You want to do Middle Bay, Joey?
Sure. All right, everyone. I'm going to read.
This will be fun.
I'm not sure how this type of podcast goes. A little.
You just go through the thing, and so just so everybody knows, Joey's surprised at this. Our reports come from a bunch of different locations. If you weren't aware, Maryland DNR, Department of Natural Resources, releases a fishing report every week. It's public domain.
Yep.
And we take a lot of our information from that, plus things that people send my way. But the meat, the bread, and the butter is DNR. But you know what? This is another format for people to be able to receive that information. So
I just mean I was surprised you wanted me to read out loud. There are other podcasts I'm pretty bad at it. Middle Bay live lining spot and white perch is popular at steep channel edges. Most are holding about 30 feet and are also being caught by those chumming. Cownose rays are becoming more of a problem in the Middle Bay, and chum slicks tend to attract them. I think everything attracts cownose rays.
Yeah, I mean, do you really? Now, have you ever eaten one?
Yeah, I was talking to Dave about it today at work.
Really?
Yeah, it's like cutting into a football, but you cut their wings off. It's poor man's scallops.
Huh. Okay. I don't think I've ever had one.
They're not bad. It's not my favorite thing to do, but a mix. Now, speaking of stuff to eat, a mix of channel and blue catfish are also being attracted to chum slicks, and will often pick up baits lying on the bottom. Anglers use live bait or cut bait, or are reminded that they must use non-offset circle hooks at all times.
That's just a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be killing fish.
It's a freaking catfish. You miss one, you catch another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Trolling is a good option when fishing for striped bass. Most anglers are targeting the shipping channel edges with umbrella rigs pulled behind and line weights. Often the fish are suspended about 30 feet along the channel edges. White tends to be the most popular color for bucktails dressed with sassy shads or twister tails. Storm-type swim shads are also working well. The shallow water striper bass fishery in the lower sections of the tidal rivers and bay shore areas provides fun and exciting way to fish with light tackle. That's my favorite.
You can see a video on that if you go to this month's Chesapeake Angler magazine.
On the YouTube,
there's a YouTube QR code. You can just be sitting in a barbershop. You can pick up your copy of the Angler, point your phone camera right at that QR code, and it'll start playing this fun video on chasing schoolie rockfish, where I actually sing. Have you watched that video? I kind of sing.
I binged them the other day.
I do a little sing-songy thing when I'm talking.
You got a pretty voice.
Yeah, thank you.
You have a voice for radio.
Face for radio.
Face for radio, yeah. I was trying to be nice, though. But the exciting
you lost your
part,
spot. I'm sorry.
No. Water temperature in the mid-70s, so striped bass are feeling more comfortable moving into these shallower areas in the evenings and lingering till the mid-morning hours. Topwater lures are one of the best choices when fishing over grass and submerged rocks. Crankbaits, jerkbaits, spinnerbaits, and swim baits can be good choices in deeper waters near shoreline structure. Zara Spooks.
That's one of your favorites.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I did lose one last night.
I'll get it back for you.
And poppers are a great choice when fishing with spinning gear, and skipping bugs are a perfect match with a weight-forward floating line and a mid-weight fly rod. Wow, there is a fly rod reference in that one.
I usually cut those out.
Idiots on the fly rods.
That's not true. I have two of them. I'm just joking, everybody.
No, I went out the other night. I mean, I could throw spooks all night, but all I took was fly rods, really, because I want to.
So you were throwing the spook on a fly rod? That would
be funny. God, no.
That would be a great video.
Nice
Can you two fish a Zara spook?
That'd be viral right there. White perch are spread throughout the region's tidal rivers and creeks.
What?
And will
They're
stay
white
put.
perch?
They're everywhere. There's some in my bathtub right now. And they'll stay put for most of the summer months. Fishing for them is fun and easy from docks and piers using grass shrimp or pieces of bloodworm on a simple one-hook bottom rig. I don't know if I read that right. A good tide is desirable, and the best place to fish in deep water is right next to the pilings or bulkheads.
You knocked that out of the park, buddy.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Oh, good job.
I practiced. I read that 8 times. That was my first run through.
Looking at the lower bay, fish for specks has been extremely good along the eastern shore marshes in about 5 feet of water. Man, what a fun time that would be. I would really get it to.
I haven't done that.
I haven't done it for
5 or 6 years.
We should definitely. It's the year for it, dude. It's the year.
We need to go over like Crisfield with our kayaks.
Yeah, that would be.
Do some.
We could just shoot straight across the bay.
Oh, we could totally. I'm not bad. We should camp over there or sleep in a hotel.
Yeah,
I don't know how Rona works, but it'd be a solid 2 days of content.
Ain't no Rona in my tent.
Magazine and YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So speckled trout are also showing up on the western shore near Point Lookout and Cornfield Harbor in the mouth of the Patuxent River. White and pearl sparkle combinations of soft plastic swim baits and mirror lures are working well, and scented gulp baits are always a proven winner. That's my go-to. I love to tip my bucktails with those little scented gulp.
I just put garlic on there.
That's Jerry does that. I was like, we were fishing at Mallows Bay the other day.
Garlic and WD-40.
And all of a sudden, I smelled like Italian restaurant. I'm like, what is that? There's nowhere. And I mentioned it. And I was like, what is that smell? And he goes, oh, that's my garlic.
Oh, jeez, I was joking.
Sight fishing and casting live eels are large, soft plastic swim baits and jigs is a great way to get in on the cobia action. Of course, with cobia, chumming is an old standby with the abundance of cow-nose rays. In those chum slicks, it can be tough. Spanish mackerel are becoming more common if you're trolling along at a good clip with a small spoon. If you dial it back a little bit, troll at a slower speed with a larger spoon in the general area of the target ships north to the Little Chop Tank area can result in some exciting catch and release action with large red drum. Striped bass are mixed in with the specks, many of the areas, and provide plenty of fun fishing action for light tackle anglers. As in the Middle Bay, topwater lures are a favorite way to fish for these during both the morning and the evening hours. If you want to be mind-numbingly bored, go out and do a troll. That's a popular option along the channel edges. We're going to lose a whole bunch of trollers.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. We talked about this before. Inline weights, drop them down to where the fish are. Use your graph. Use your fish finder. Find the depth. Put the bait on the fish, and then the fish bite the hook. Spot, again, that's the big news. The spot are here. And you know what I find exciting about that?
What? Is
it usually not far behind the spot or the hardhead. I would very much like to see a croaker bite come back to the Patuxent area.
I kind of forgot about them.
That would be... Oh, man, back in the day when those big hardheads would come in and you go out night fishing for those things out just outside the mouth of the river. Oh, man, I miss that. Most of the spot, though, are small, which is actually good for live lining, but not if you're looking to eat them. Flounder are showing up along the channel edges in the Tangier and Pocomoke. White perch. Hey, look, white perch. White perch are holding just about all the time
here yet.
Recreational crabbers are working hard to catch a good bushel of crabs. Best catches come from the lower bay, especially on the eastern side. I haven't had any problem at the pier. We're getting probably about half a bushel a week right now.
Oh, man, my neighbor came over last night right before I was leaving. She's like, hey, you want a dozen crabs I just cooked?
Yeah.
Dang, I'm going fishing.
Razor clams. That's your most popular bait. Stuff them razor clams in those crab pots. Let them soak. Chicken necks can work just fine. I have got freezer burned smoked chicken wings in my crab pots right now, and they're working just fine. Looking at freshwater, largemouth bass are focused on grass, spatterdock, and lily pads. Early morning and evening hours are your best times to fish shallow in the grass with a variety of topwater lures. Waters are beginning to warm, really. As the day wears on, largemouth bass will seek shade under a thick grass that is growing in deep waters. So, I mean, it's summer pattern, topwater in the morning, topwater in the evening, and you got to get something into the shaded areas. And if you can find shaded areas in deep water and you can get a bait there, you're going to catch a bass. Snakeheads are holding in shallow grass in the tidal rivers, and if you're fishing for largemouth bass, you will probably encounter them. Snakeheads are finishing their spawn, and they are going to be back on the feed. Did you know that snakeheads are found now in every tidal river that flows into the Chesapeake Bay? With the greatest numbers are in the Potomac, the Patuxent, the Nanticoke, lower Dorchester County, and farther north in the Susquehanna Flats. Yeah, right. Blue catfish, well, they're everywhere. What did we say last week? If you want to catch a catfish, just find water. Isn't that the way that works?
They're probably there with a spot.
So just to fish a simple bottom rig with cut bait, clam snouts, or chicken livers. So that wraps it up. Yep. Freshwater, upper, middle, and lower bay. Now, when we do upper, middle, and lower bay, it's the Maryland portion. We're not talking about the Virginia portion because this is the Maryland fishing line. Cool. And so we talk about fishing in the great state.
Where's the cross? Do you have the Chesapeake Angler, though?
What's that? I know. You know how we struggled with the name? what to do with whether it was going to be the Maryland version of the Angler or the Chesapeake Bay Angler.
I'm just yanking your line.
Well, we actually did go through a lot of different variants before we decided on Chesapeake Edition because it was just...
I like it. It's classy.
Well, but it's also like, that's iconic of the region.
Yeah.
And, we struggled with, because it's a definite... there's a lot of freshwater and brackish, and it's not all saltwater, and the Coastal Angler brand tends to focus more on offshore in Florida, and while the Angler brand tends to focus more on freshwater, and we just felt like that was a little bit better fit. YouTube catch up. Don't forget, folks, to find and comment on the Mallows Bay Snakehead and Bass video. We're sitting at 315 or 316 subscribers right now. When we get to 350 subscribers on the YouTube channel, we're going to be selecting a random comment from that specific video to win a Bass Pro Shops e-gift card. And also, if there's something that would interest you, that you would like to see us cover on our YouTube channel, shoot us an email. Let us know. We'd be happy to see what we can do about that. Now, I'm actually bottlenecked on videos. I am working.
Too many?
Well, no, I just got so much content because you fish almost
too much. Stop fishing so much.
Fishing I fish at least every other day.
Oh yeah,
and everything gets videoed. And I'm working. I noticed today it's June 30th, and I'm working today on a video from a trip that I did on June 15th. So I'm like a full 2 weeks behind.
Jeez.
So, but it's okay. It'll all get out there eventually, and I want to make sure that we're doing something at least close to right on YouTube, and I think we're doing okay. I think we're actually kind of doing that stuff. Little bit of what's going on with the magazine. I talked about this last week, but we are still and already looking for bragboard photos for the August issue. You can send them to us at theanglerchesapeake@gmail.com. Make sure to include a byline that you have attached the highest resolution image suitable for printing. That confuses a lot of folks because they send them from their phone, and sometimes your phone wants to make it small to be able to send it through the phone. So if you do send a photo through email from your phone, make sure you get the choice to select the largest file size possible to send. And then once again, look for the July magazine. Distribution has begun. I'm going to move a little slow on that, just to kind of give the last issue the opportunity to soak in some of those places. But there's no hurry. The July issue will be in your neck of the woods in the next 3 or 4 days. So what have you been doing, Joey, this last week?
I think I've only been out twice. I don't fish as much as you. I don't know.
What we were talking about earlier, we fished last night together.
We did. I feel like I forgot how to fish though. I've been goose egg for like a week.
It does when you have those little spells. It's
tough. It just feels like I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I fish my regular spot that I've done really well this year so far on Saturday night, and I hate going out on weekends, but right now I just take what I can get. Yeah, and I fish till like 10 o'clock at night because I'm fishing the lights, so the creeks.
That was Saturday night, and then Jerry and I went out Sunday night.
Yeah.
Now, did you do anything Saturday night?
No,
nothing. So we didn't do anything on Sunday night, and the fire boats were out of the creek. And I think what it is, the
it's boat traffic.
No, it was probably
stressed,
but it's also with it being light until like well after 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. It's like where you used to be able to fish at 9 o'clock in those lights, and it was dark at that point. Right now, you can't. You got to be out there like 10:30 or 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that makes a little bit of a difference, I think. So it's a mental thing.
It's mental. I had the tide I wanted. I had the wind was all right. I went out there. I was like, I'm throwing a new 6-weight. That I got a couple new not new, but it's like, man, I really want to put a good fish on this one. I had another setup I took out, and I took out 3 solid fly rods. I always take a spinning rod. Sometimes I'll throw a spook without hooks on it, and I have a couple in my box just to find fish.
Oh, searcher bait.
Yeah, because it gets tiring. Like last night, I threw my fly rod a lot. My arm got tired because I was throwing like a frog for a little bit. That's a lot to push. Like a thing I did. Spun some deer tail on a fly, like a Dahlberg popper or a Dahlberg diver. That takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So there's times where I get to a section and I'll throw a spook without hooks on it. See if I can stir up anything.
Try to locate fish.
Yeah. We used to do that at Cedar Point a lot, though, with one guy on that and the other guy on the fly rod. And the guy on the fly rod really literally dump it right behind the spook if there was fish coming after it.
Oh, see, that's brilliant.
And I learned that up at the Susquehanna Flats with my friend Chris and Dennis. We were the guys who used to always go out together all the way down to Bay Bridge Tunnel doing the same thing.
Right.
I love doing that.
You
can find some big fish that way. I don't care
really
what people
smart.
say, but that's smart.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to throw that and find fish. But no, it was dead. But it was nice to be out. Stayed out late. And then the pond fishing, same thing. I really wanted my dad to catch a couple good largemouth. And he did, a couple pounds, 3 pounders.
Nice.
That's all. That was my goal. I get just excited doing that sometimes. I know everyone says that, but it's true for me.
When I went down last night, I got there a little ahead of you guys, and I fished some of the shallower water just to see if anything was happening over there. That water temperature was so high.
I was surprised when you told me that.
Yep, it was dead. And so I flipped back over to the ponds that have a little bit more water in them and found some fish over there. So I was glad I got down there and do that so that.
Well, you said it was 90? Something?
So the shallower areas in the ponds that have a lot of the grass, we're sitting at 93 to 95.
That's crazy.
On surface temperature.
I mean, I'm getting excited that the bays are getting high 70s.
Yeah.
High 70s, low 80s. I'm starting to look for redfish.
Yeah.
That's why I was getting all excited.
Well, then the deeper water that we actually ended up fishing, the other ponds, little bit more water. Surface temps were hanging right around 89, 90. And when I went up onto the shallow side into the other pond that was connected to the deeper water pond, that water remained cool even though it was shallow. And I was surprised I didn't stir anything up in there. I don't quite. I think it's just been we had 3 or 4 hot days.
Yeah,
hot days.
Can't catch them all every trip.
Right. Nope. Can't do it.
What about you? Yeah. What about your?
Okay,
you had
so
a good week.
I had a really good week. I had a nice little 5-pound bass. So this is in one night, and when you catch just a few fish, it is so nice when they're quality. So this one night I had a 5-pound bass, and it was a fat 19-inch fish, fat like a football. And then everything happened on a chatterbait. There was no topwater bite. There was no worm bite. It was all chatterbait, yellow and white. And I had a 6-pound snakehead. It was 26 inches. And I showed you the picture of the chatterbait.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it literally destroyed a Z-Man chatterbait. And I don't know if it was, because they get that lockjaw. Those big fish get that lockjaw. And I couldn't get his mouth open to get the pliers in. So it was probably as much a combination of me having to bend that to get it out. I don't think he had the power in his jaws to actually bend that. But the fact remains that to get it undone and out of his jaws, literally that it bent it, and then I tried to straighten it back out, and that doesn't happen. It just broke the hook right off. So that was a great night, and I got a really, really, really good video of that. I've switched the camera angles, and that fish, a snakehead will get a little freak out. Yeah, they get a little. You get them in a boat. So
ape shit.
Yeah, they go absolutely nuts. And so that fish came up to this. I got him on the net, and he was longer than the net. Pulled him in the net, and I was holding him up in the net over top of the kayak, and I was waiting for him to go crazy. And it was almost like he just gave up, and he just laid there. And I reached down in, and I grabbed him underneath the gill plate and lifted him up and tried to work the bait. Got my grips on him finally because I had to get his jaws open. Got the grip on him, got a length on him. He never budged, never flipped, never flopped. Once he just laid there and let me get a measure on him, laid there, let me get a weight on him, tried to get the hook out. I gave him a good look, took a couple of pictures. And as soon as I set that fish back down over in the water, still had him on the grips, and I was reaching to grab I had it wrapped around my hand, and I reached to grab the release. And as soon as he hit that water, that fish went nuts, and he almost ripped my arm off. It felt like, and he was at the perfect angle, and I've got the camera, the GoPro sits over the side of the boat now and looks down right there at that little land area, and he must have kicked it just right, because that fish shot like a torpedo straight out of the water. And I got this whole thing on video. But like I said, I'm 2 weeks behind on video, so it'll be a couple of weeks before I get it out. But this fish shot from the middle of the boat where I was putting from the middle of the boat. It was airborne like a torpedo, almost to the bow of the boat in a straight line. I'm excited when that video finally gets released. That'll be fun. So that was my week. I had a couple of bass, a couple of nice snakehead, and it's this last week was the week in between tournaments. The KBF June tournament finished the 21st.
Oh, I forgot that new one starts.
Yep, new one starts tomorrow.
So it's kind of hard to take you to Crisfield for a couple of days.
Well, I could
So a lot of guys.
I honestly, it's been fun in the last 2 months. I've really focused on them during those 3 weeks.
Could hit some of those Salisbury ponds.
Those mill ponds like Johnson Pond or what is it, Y Oaks over there? Yeah.
Y Mills?
Y Mills, that's it. Yeah. Those mill ponds are fire. That may be something that I could get behind. That or Blackwater too. Blackwater.
Oh, yeah.
Blackwater's full bass. And the way that the snakehead have destroyed the younger generation of bass, I think all the bass that are in Blackwater right now are big.
Big enough to eat snakehead now.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I've heard bigger bass are more likely to eat snakehead than snakehead eating bigger bass.
I can
the
see
way
that.
the snakehead kind of fit in their mouths easier. I don't know. It's just a...
Yeah, I can see a 5-pound bass chomping down on a up to 10, 12-inch snakehead. Yeah, it'd fit right in their maw at a big old bucket mouth.
Slips right through,
Yeah, right in there.
Easy.
And then they don't got to eat for like a week.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks for all of us trying to catch them. But
I don't know if I want to go to Blackwater right now. It's freaking fly season over there.
We rode our bikes over there not too long ago, and it was miserable. Deer flies.
I mean, like guy with a bug net all over my whole kayak and a little like port for my...
Your fishing rod goes out.
Yeah,
it's got like a little arm that extends out. It's netted.
Please fly. Don't bother me. I hate flies.
I am right there with you. Deer flies are... they're one of my... I can do ticks, although I'm not a fan. And I can do mosquitoes even. But deer flies, they take meat.
Oh, yeah.
They're horrible.
I hate flies in general. I like fishing with... I got one of those like Sun, the Columbia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like I was over at Macintosh last week and the bugs were out. Nah, I'm a little kid. I hate it. But I'll fish that and I'll pull my buff all the way up and I have my hat down. Because I hate it's just the buzzing of like getting buzzed by the...
when they buzz your eyes and they fly in your ear.
I go like full on. You can't, Unabomber.
I'm still waiting for I don't know why my new glasses haven't showed up. I'm waiting for my new coasters to show up. No. So that's it for me. July is, kicking off tomorrow, and it's right back in it with KBF tournament. And I don't think there's as many people in July. Did I tell you that I finished?
You finished fourth?
Fourth. I finished fourth in the state. Had a big day right there at the end of that tournament on the 20th. I think we may have talked about it last week, so I don't want to recap it. That's that though. So anything else from you? Wrapping it up?
No, I'm hoping to fish a lot more between next episode.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, folks, if you're looking for us, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Angler Magazine Chesapeake. If you're looking for us on Instagram, the handle is @Chesapeake Angler. If you're looking for us on YouTube, youtube.com/Chesapeake Angler. And, of course, you can read the e-magazine online at ChesapeakeAnglerMag.com. Until next week, folks, get out there and catch some fish.
Adios. I don't know what to say at the end of that one. I can't say love you bye.
Maybe we could.
We could.
Love you bye.
Bring love you bye.
We'll bridge it.
It's funny. Anyone store-wise, I mean, all my employees say it. People call me and say it. It's gone viral.
So if you want to find Joe, you can find him at Pack Paddle Sports in Solomons, Maryland, where you can rent.
Are you keeping it up?
Yeah, we're still going. We're still going.
I can't get you a kayak right now. If you want a fishing kayak, you got to wait till next year. I got a few phone calls today about that.
All right, we'll do it. Everybody, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.